All right, let's get you guys Tyree's takes on the Giants' latest loss to the Vikings and, of course, all the storylines that's coming out of it. David Tyree, you see the man right there, Super Bowl champ. He's back on. DT, what's going on, man? 9 straight, bro. It hurts. Absolutely hurts.
Another day back in the trenches, man. But hey, listen, life in the NFL. Well, these are the tune-ups that got to shift your franchise and organization right now. We at the brunt of it. So, hey, let's get some takes. Let's see what we can do moving forward because yesterday's news is really bad.
All right, because last week we talked about if the Giants should shut Jaxson Dart down. They're not going to do that. And because of that, he's getting the blame for the Vikings loss. 7 for 13, 33 yards passing. And, of course, he threw the interception. When he was asked about Dart playing for the remainder of the season, Mike Kafka said, "We're full throttle ahead. Jaxson is running the ship. There's no question about that." Is not having weapons and playmakers on the perimeter ruining Jaxson Dart's development, DT?
I don't know if it's ruining, but it's certainly not helping the cause or advancing the cause. And I think what we saw, we're now starting to see the decline of an entire season, right? Things don't just automatically go well because someone's immensely talented. I think the compliment of Jaxson Dart and Cam Scatterbull was a real energizing factor early in the season, whereas now just that one stable piece in the energy and talent of Cam Scatterbull, in the absence of a reliable receiving game, it just begins to expose the experience of a rookie quarterback. No, he deserves zero blame, in my personal opinion, because this is what I would expect in week 5, right? We're just seeing it now in week 15, week 16. So no, this is the trial period of a young, talented rookie quarterback who really does not have much at his disposal. So the weaknesses, and when you talk about going against a Brian Flores defense, disguises, blitz is coming from every area. No, he just kind of met his match this week, and he looked like a rookie quarterback. We've seen this before over and over again, and he'll get better from it. If we're all in on Jaxson, I guess there's no reason to consider it for Mike Kafka. But again, for me, I'm thinking about health, and I'm thinking about how do I evaluate these guys on this roster.
But does that surprise you, the way Mike Kafka used him, or the way Mike Kafka called plays against this Brian Flores-led defense? They ran the ball. It was like we were watching Army versus Navy. They were running the ball a lot, and it was working. I'll give them this credit. It was working. They were getting 3 yards in a cloud of dust, somewhat staying ahead of the chains. But when it came time to throw the football, I mean, it was just drop after drop, and it was inconsistency after inconsistency. So with Andrew Thomas having to leave that game with the hamstring injury, we don't know what his status is going to be like for the next 2 games. Again, I know this is a broken record, but do you put him out there without Andrew Thomas on that left side? Because you see how it goes, how things go sour fast when Andrew Thomas is not out there.
Well said. The return of Andrew Thomas early in the season re-solidified this offensive line for a good stretch. And now we're looking at potential departure again, obviously with the ham. So no, I want Jaxson Dart to be my future. But Mike Kafka dealing the cards in the now is thinking about development, short-term and long-term. I don't necessarily agree with it because I don't trust Jaxson Dart to take care of himself just yet. I think he's learning, but he's not learning fast enough, and he has no help. In my personal opinion, I would have sat Theo Johnson down and put more and saw more of Daniel Bellinger. To me, he's a better pass catcher with the few opportunities and limited opportunities he's had over the years. But those are some of the things that, when it comes to me, I think we start talking about front office, justifying talent, opportunities. We start to see why a guy's in there, but then it's the same thing with Darius Slayton. We know why we paid you the contract, but then we see why we were also hesitant through the years to put all the chips down on Darius Slayton as a 2 or 3. So the Giants are just in these unprecarious situations, and there's no one reliable outside this young ball of talent for Jaxson Dart, and that's a bad place to be. Is it 2 weeks? Yeah, can they get out of it? But they have no choice but to run the football and position him to make better decisions in light of the lack of options that he has around.
DT, if I was a receiver on this team, The way he throws his deep ball is crazy, bro. Like how accurate he is, how he puts
Man,
air up under it and allows
it's
you to
pretty.
run up under it. The kid is special, man. And I think everybody here in New York, and maybe this is a New York thing, everyone in the Tri-Cities or Tri-State area knows and has identified Jaxson Dart as the quarterback of the future. But the rest of the NFL, maybe they're not watching these games, they're just watching the box scores. People are still have question marks around this kid. And Colin Cowherd said that the Giants should trade Jaxson Dart and draft Fernando Mendoza. So I want you to listen to this rant, and then we're going to break it down, and then we're going to get Tyree's take on it.
The New York Giants right now would have the number 1 pick. You trade Jaxson Dart. You take the 6'5.5" Fernando Mendoza. Absolutely. I think Mendoza is about as good a prospect as you're going to get. I mean, humble. I talked to an NFL coach about him. I said, this person may need a quarterback, but won't be able to get Mendoza, who will go number 1. He won't be able to move up. And he said, he's also such an easy player to scout because Indiana runs pro concepts. So you will know, watching his college film, the throws he can and cannot make. His take was, easy guy to comp. He said, these Big 12 guys like Mahomes, you knew he was talented, but you're like, what in the hell is that offense? He goes, Mendoza's like, they run pros concepts. It's one day of watching film, you're like, oh yeah, he can make that throw, that throw, that throw, that throw. He audible out of that throw. He goes, he's the easiest guy to scout ever.
Sounds like they want a robot. Sounds like he wants, and this is a dude that was wrong about Jaden Daniels when Jaden Daniels came out. But I'm not here for that to go back and forth with the Colin Cowherd. But what do you think of that take, that rant?
Yeah, that was Cowherd had some manure on that. I think it's a trash rant. I think it's great for us to create, but we know what we're looking at for Jaxson Dart, and to me, it's only up moving forward. Because when you start talking about the accuracy, touch, that Jaxson Dart, the mobility, he is everything that the New York, and then he has instinctual elements for a young quarterback that obviously we're talking about the negative side over the last 4 weeks, but no, we had some instinctive elements in relation to movement, presence, and placement that is just uncanny. I personally, like I said, we knew what we were getting with Eli, but he wasn't this. There weren't balls that were put in perfect position where only the receiver, and most of those opportunities sadly have been dropped this year. So no. And I wasn't really, as much as I do believe Mendoza's a first-round prospect, I didn't believe that he was this overwhelming, dynamic shoe-in for the Heisman. I felt like this was a down year for some of the best players in college football. Statistically, he wasn't overwhelmingly dominant, but he was the best player on the best team throughout college football this season. So he didn't do enough for me to just be like, this guy's the future. That's going to replace something that we know has some traditional bearing, especially in New York City. I think we got our guy.
Yeah, I mean, the Mendoza kid can play without a doubt. Like, I'm not going to take anything from him, but I just don't think that he fits in to what it means to be like a New York Giant, the new New York Giant. Jaxson Dart with the dancing and he dating the IG model and all. I mean, the kid, he was born to play here in New York. So, I mean, it was just, I get it. It's content. We're all about creating content. We need the clicks and the likes and all that good stuff like that. But anyone here in New York, everyone that's here in New York has identified that Giants have their QB1. If they do get that first pick, trade back and do whatever you got to do to bring in weapons. And that brings us to the next question because, ladies and gentlemen, we got Raiders versus Giants on Sunday. Hold on, DT. Let me just make sure that I put that on the calendar so I don't miss that. Loser of this game is going to pretty much lock up the number 1 overall pick. Two-part question.
Yep.
If the Giants lose this game and fans celebrate that, what does that tell you about the culture of everything, the franchise and the fan base? And if the Giants get the number 1 pick, what would the GM, David Tyree, do with it?
Yeah. The first one, I think when you're already losing, you're looking for a win. And it's hard not to begin to adopt something like if you've already, it's kind of like playing a game of Uno and And are we going to have one winner, or are we going to just keep playing even though we got 5 players and play this game all the way out? Who's the loser of losers? And so at the end of the day, the Giants, you want to find the silver lining in a really bad situation, and that could be a number 1 pick overall. But at the end of the day, those current players, they need to go out there and earn their check and present themselves an opportunity to win. So no, fan base has the right to feel the way they want to feel. Coaches got to go out there and position themselves to prove that they earn the right to have jobs, and so do these players. Excuse me. Number 2, GM, if I'm sitting in that GM spot, again, I think we mentioned this a few weeks ago, bro. I'm looking for some ways, aside from knowing that this is a cash cow trade in, I'm looking at wide receiver. I'm looking at, and I think, DB, but, and then to me, I'm just looking for a home run offensive line prospect. When we look at the offensive line, and I just feel like every attempt that we've made in the last 10 years, Merrick Flowers, Evan Neal, it doesn't have to be a tackle. Even some of our guys who have kind of stood in there, they just never materialized, aside from Andrew Thomas, to just be a linchpin. Can we get a guy? So I'm looking for a little more capital or that wide receiver position, because Jaxson Dart needs someone reliable. And I can just take a look at Justin Jefferson. He's got Addison, he's got Naylor, and that gives you stability when you got a playmaker down. So Giants haven't had that. So if I had to shoot from a high position, by a receiver, or give me some more picks.
You mentioned Jordan Jefferson and what he has. He also has T.J. Hawkinson as well. So you got the tight end position as a weapon as well, and that's a luxury. That's not even a luxury anymore. I feel like that's a standard. You have to have a pass catching tight end. I wish there was like that Jalen Carter or that defensive tackle, that interior tackle that we all could look at and be like, this is the consensus number 1 pick, because I feel as though they need someone right there next to Dexter Lawrence. It goes back to January 5th, 2025, when John Mara was talking to the reporters, and he said, I'm tired of watching offenses go up and down on the defense. He said that when they had like the 30th ranked run defense last year. Now where are they at now? Like 30th or 31st in the league. So, yeah, you went and you got pass rush. You went and got a NASCAR package. But, no, I need a bulldoze package right now. I need some beef, like right there up in the middle. And plus, when you talk about, okay, is there going to be obviously there's going to be a new head coach. But if there's a new GM, Dexter Lawrence in that contract may not be as attractive to the new head coach and the new GM as well. Now, he gets a pass for this year with this down year because of everything that's going on. But, going forward, you know what it's like when a new head coach and new GMs, like, not saying they're getting one, but if they were to, you know what that's like, the business of the sport. So if you could have someone that can come in and be that guy right next to him. It was almost like Leonard Williams was for Dexter Lawrence. Like, you could have that smooth transition if that were to happen, or you can get the best out of both of them and have not only the edge rushers coming off the edge, but now you've got interior pressure on a consistent basis, not just 1 or 2 times per game. But, yeah, it's a lot of holes when it comes to what's going to be needed to fix this roster. If you get that first overall pick, you got, I'm like, trade back, see what you can get, because, but at the end of the day, you got to hit on those picks. DT, finish us off, man. Last Tyree's take to get us ready for the holidays.
Hey, man, they're going into the black hole. The big blue needs to bring the light, man. And it said that in the beginning there was darkness on the void, and that's the Giants going into to Vegas, right? And they got to find a way to bring some cleansing power, some big blue rush into that arena so that they can actually get a W. I don't necessarily want to see them lose the number 1 position, but I do want to see this team actually have a healthy performance. And I do believe they have enough with Wan'Dale Robinson and Darius Slayton to actually step up and be pros. Step up and be pros and make the plays that you're paid to make, and give this young quarterback an opportunity to prove that the offense that was clicking and giving this team the position to compete while there was energy could actually complement and give us one solid performance that says, there's hope for our future. So bring the light to the darkness, plug up the black hole with the big blue rush.
DT, always appreciate you, man. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays, my man. Next week, we're
brother.
doing this after a W.
Duh.